Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here to talk about the new patch for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. It was a huge patch. First of all, a bunch of new characters from the new Star Wars movie, Force Awakens, are in there, and a ton of balances happened. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at some changes to the game. So first of all, we have some new characters. We have Kylo Ren, we have Finn, we have Rey, Phasma, Poe, all kinds of interesting characters. I haven't seen the movie. I'm going to see it in 4 hours, so I don't know who these guys are. But they look pretty cool. Kylo Ren is really interesting because he has all kinds of different abilities. And based on his unstoppable ability, his cooldowns are constantly getting reset, which is really cool. And his ragged cut allows him to have a very Sidious-like effect, where he has a good chance to give them healing immunity. And he's also putting negative effects on them, which couples really well with people like Darth Vader. So it looks to me like someone like Kylo Ren is going to be good in the future. I don't have him yet, and personally, from what I've heard for people who do have him at 4 stars and geared up, he's not that great yet at 4 stars. This is assuming you have a 7-star army like I have. But in the future, it looks like he could be quite strong. Another character that I'm really excited about, but I'm not sure what to think about, is Poe. Poe has probably the coolest ability of all the new guys. So he is able to taunt and then expose much of your enemy's team for 2 turns. And what expose means is they take a ton more damage. So what I was thinking is this could be really good in an AoE lineup. So you have something like Poe, Poggle the Lesser, IG-88, Boba Fett, and Dacha maybe. And you just have Poe taunt up, take a bit of damage, and then the AoE guys go crazy. The problem with Poe is he has a really low health total. I have him on my other account, and at a similar level, Chewbacca has about 2,500 more hit points, which tells me he's probably going to last a lot longer than someone like Poe. And I don't know about your experience, but mine has been Chewbacca dies real fast once he taunts up. He taunts up, and he dies. That's his job. So my guess is you're going to get one deal out of Poe, which is really all you need out of Arena, though, if your AoE guys are then coming in and just whomping everyone. So it just sort of depends on what you're going to be able to do with that. Another character that looks pretty interesting is Phasma. I have Phasma already geared up quite a bit. He's at 3 stars. The problem is it's hard to test somebody who's only at 3 stars against 7-star guys, but it looks pretty good. So Fusillade is really cool. So you have doing an AoE with speed down. Anytime you can get an AoE effect with debuffs, that's really strong. Victory March is pretty cool. All your allies are gaining advantage, which for a lot of people advantage is great. And this could be sort of the backbone of an advantage team, which, goodness, I can't even come close to making right now. But it could be interesting in the future and getting turn advantage. And Onslaught is pretty cool. If he has advantage, bam, it's a ton more attack. So we'll have to see moving forward if Phasma's really good in an advantage team. I don't really think Phasma's going to see a ton of play in just regular decks right now, other than like a newer player who gets a free Phasma, right? That's pretty awesome. You just stick Phasma right in your deck. However, if you're like me and you've been playing for months, and you have all these amazing characters, it's really hard to say, like, yes, this new 3-star character is going in over any of these 5- and 7-star characters. That's probably just not happening. And some more cool characters are Rey. Rey looks quite interesting. Wherever Rey is here she is. Because Rey has this really interesting attack where she gets to attack multiple times. So she gets to attack target enemies twice. And if she has any positive effects, she'll do one more time. So she gets to do 3 attacks. The problem is they're reduced in damage, and so I think we're going to have to wait and see what her damage looks like. A lot of these characters look so cool, and then you use them, you're like, oh, yeah, they get 3 attacks, but it's 3 pathetic attacks. Like, that's barely worth 1. So it could be great, and we'll have to see. So Rey is another character that we're going to have to kind of wait and see on. I'm not really sure. Really, all of the new characters, I'm not really sure on. Kylo Ren looks like he'll be really good, though. I'm pretty excited. Okay, that's enough of the new characters. What I find most interesting about this patch, because I already have a really strong lineup, are the balance changes. And oh man, were there balance changes. You could basically call this the Jedi hate patch. So let's look at some of the Jedi hate that happened. First of all, you have Darth Maul, who now just basically becomes the Jedi killer. All his attacks do double damage to Jedi. I don't have Darth Maul, so we're not going to look at him. But basically, he's a beast now. If I had Darth Maul, now is the time to play him while everyone is scrambling. Because pre-patch, everyone had Jedi lineups. At least everyone at like the medium to below. And now everyone's going, oh no. Boy, I hope I don't run into Darth Maul, because it's not like the free-to-play player can just instantly have new 6 and 7 star guys. It takes quite a while. So we'll have to see. I think Darth Maul is going to be quite good for a while. The most shocking buff of all was Darth Sidious. Darth Sidious got 2 buffs. That's right. Darth Sidious, the guy everyone in the game plays because you get him in the arena. Everyone goes for him first. He's awesome. He didn't get 1. He got 2 buffs. Okay, that's insane. So first of all, his sadistic glee, he becomes even better at evading Jedi attacks. So what did we just say? Everyone's playing Jedis. Now these Jedis have a really hard time hitting Darth Sidious. It's really annoying to go with your special, with your Luminar, and you're like, I need this. I'm going to kill Sidious. Oh, he evaded it again. Oh my goodness, it's the worst. The most shocking one, though, was that his AoE got buffed 40%. When I read that, I nearly fell out of my chair. I was like, you took one of the best characters in the game, you buffed his AoE. Not like 10%, 40%. I was shocked. So I went right into a battle. Immediately, boom, AoE. Why does his AoE suck so bad? That's right, it's still not good. Apparently his damage was so low that 40% times incredibly low is still incredibly low. So don't panic when you read that he got a 40% buff to his AoE. It's still terrible. There's a reason why I never used it before, and I will continue never using it. A reason not to use it is because he gives people healing immunity when you do his Deathstroke, his regular attack. And so that's just so strong to give someone healing immunity versus doing a little damage to everyone when they just go, floop, heal, everyone's back. So I'm going to stick to the Deathstroke despite the buff on the demoralizing blows. Give me another 40%, give me another 80%, maybe I'll use it. Until then, not going to happen. Darth Vader got some interesting buffs. Again, Jedi related. Basically now his terrifying swing, which had a really good chance to do ability block, can't be evaded by Jedi. So if your opponent has a Luminara or they have a Barriss and they're like, okay, I'm going to heal everyone, and you go fling, hit him with Vader, there's about a 50-50 chance that they don't get to do that anymore. So suddenly they're pretty much rendered worthless. Now, Vader's awesome. I love Vader. The problem is he's only 4 stars. It's like I've been saying, Vader's really hard to farm. Even if you are the paying player, he's still hard to farm. I love him in the Galactic Wars, but in the arena he just doesn't quite make the cut in my elite squad that I talked about in another video. All right, so that's half of the Jedi hate. The other half of the Jedi hate is on the Jedi themselves. Probably the biggest nerf went to Barriss Offee. Barriss Offee she still has her amazing heal where she heals through healing immunity because it's not technically healing, it's equalizing. And so that's still really, really strong. But after she does that, she has an actual heal that comes with it. And that has been reduced from 15% down to 2.5%. So it's a huge, huge, huge nerf, which is really interesting because I understand the problem. When you're in like the middle, like in the 45s and the 50s, and someone has a 4-star Barriss Offee, she's incredibly hard to deal with. So I understand what all the uproar was about, but I'm telling you, at the upper levels, in the end game, she's not that good. A lot of people had her. I had no problems beating those armies. Any army that had Barriss Offee, it was no problem to kill them. Because all you have to do is ability block her. She does nothing. Once she's ability blocked, she's worthless. She barely taps you. It's like she's holding a feather instead of a lightsaber. In addition to that, if you kill somebody directly before she can do her heal, then it doesn't matter anyway. So she was not that great to start with. She was good. She was solid. Now, I don't think you're going to see her being used by many people at the upper levels when they actually get to the end game and have choices. So it was a pretty big nerf. I think it was an unnecessary one. I totally get it, though. If you're in the middle and you're level 45 and you're going, unnecessary, are you out of your ever-loving mind? She's still bananas good. I agree. On my other account, I have her, and she's phenomenal, and she anchors my lineup. But as you get to the end game, that will no longer be the case. So it's a very interesting nerf. End game players are really annoyed about it. Mid game players are really excited about it. So it really depends on your perspective. Old Ben was changed as well. He's no longer quite as dominant as a control card. Qui-Gon also had his humbling blow reworked, so it's no longer quite as good. So we saw quite a bit of hate come the Jedi way between the Sith characters being anti-Jedi and the Jedi characters getting nerfed a bit. Now, I'm fine with that because it opens up the metagame quite a bit. There was a ton of Jedi lineups before. The problem is, it's one of these things of it's fine long term, right? Yeah, you don't want everyone playing Jedis. But the way this game is structured, where everything is so limited, right? It's like you have a limited amount of resources to spend each day, and it's a slow grinding process. Well, when someone blows up your whole lineup, you're back to zero, and that's really difficult to recover from. It's where the paying player has a huge advantage, because they can go out and just be like, all right, cool, I'll drop $150, and now I have an awesome lineup again. Whereas the rest of us free-to-play folks, we really struggle with this. So I'm going to go through some more balance changes, and then I'll talk about where I'm at, where I think you could be at, where you could adjust. Some interesting balance changes were Ahsoka got quite a bit better. Her base damage goes up 21%. She was already thought to be pretty reasonable. If you bought Barriss off you, you got her as well. So I kind of think what they did there was like, okay, here's the deal. Barriss is not as good, but Ahsoka's better. Trade-off. I don't think most people are happy about that, but still, Ahsoka is better. She's reasonable. Another big buff was to Asajj Ventress, which I love. I don't know if you've seen my other videos. I love Asajj Ventress. Her Endless Wrath got a monster buff, 32%. But to be honest, she doesn't seem that good still. I mean, when I've seen people have 6-7 star Ventresses, she's real good. She's really good. But I so far haven't had too much luck with her. I immediately buffed her up to level 60 to gear 7. She just hasn't been that great. Maybe when I can invest all my ability mats in her, she'll be able to crack my squad. But again, it's this problem of 4 stars versus 5, 6, 7 stars. It's hard to make room for. One of the huge upsides of her that I didn't know is you can get to level 7 purple gear without actually having to level up any of these slots as purples. That's huge. The purple ones take so many resources, so I immediately had her at level 7 and was really excited about that. So that's a real reason to start getting her. Once you get Sidious out of your arena shipments, maybe you start looking Ventress's way. But I'd probably lean to IG-88 first. Boba Fett also got a big boost to his AoE. Smaller, 14%, but still pretty good. Especially since his AoE is already amazing and it does ability block. I mean, that alone makes his AoE worth it. So to give it even more damage seems phenomenal to me. He's somebody that I really want to start working in. As you can see, he's only 4 stars. He's not geared up. He's not even leveled up for me. So I haven't really had much time to play with him, but theoretically he sounds very good. Cad Bane got better. I'm a little bit less excited about that. And a couple other guys got a little bit better. Now, there are a couple other nerfs that happened that they're not nerfs, they're fixes. But the Resistance Pilot and the Resistance Trooper, who I'd seen people sneaking them into their lineups as like glass cannons, and I've had people actually write me and say, what happened? Did they nerf them? Sort of. They corrected a bug that was causing them to do way more damage than they meant to. So, yes, they nerfed them. Although, it's funny when companies do that, right? It's not a nerf, it's not a nerf. We are fixing a bug. Listen, I noticed how good they were. I put all my resources into them, and you fixed them. You nerfed them. Either way, you screwed me, is basically the bottom line. It didn't affect me. I hadn't gone all in on my Resistance Trooper. Like I said before, a 2-star Resistance Trooper just wasn't going to crack my lineup anyway, so didn't happen. All right, so coming out of this patch, I think it's pretty obvious that Jedis have been knocked down a peg. I still think they're pretty solid. unless they're going up against like a mono Sith team that has Sidious, Maul, Vader. But again, a Sidious, Maul, Vader lineup is a lot harder. You're probably meeting up against a paying player at that point because you can't farm Maul. So I don't think a lot of people have, 6, 7-star Mauls or 6, 7-star Vaders. So they're probably not going to be as effective. Now, if you're in the middle, it's a little tougher, right? Because all you have to do is open a pack, get a 4-star Maul, and all of a sudden, all of your guys are 4-star. So I think in the middle of the pack, like around level 50, if you're a newer player, I think a really good lineup, if you have them, is something like Sidious, Maul, Vader, a healer. I'd probably take Luminara and then Count Dooku. I think that would be really strong around the 50 range. At 60 with multiple starred guys, the funny thing is this patch hasn't done much to my lineup. Like I said, I'm a free-to-play player. I'm kind of locked into this. It's Sidious, Luminara, Dooku, Old Daka, and Counselor I've been using still, actually. I'm pretty close to getting IG-88 up to where he might take a spot. I've tried Vader in the arena, and he's just not quite good enough at only 4 stars. Another guy I'm working on right now is Poggle the Lesser. He seems really good right now with his offense up ability. If I had infinite resources, infinite dollars, was a multi-billionaire, and put it all into this game, my lineup today would probably be something like Sidious, Maul, Poggle the Lesser, a healer, whether that's Luminara or Old Daka, I'm not sure, and then maybe Vader. And this is until the meta shifts to where Jedi aren't as prominent. And once they aren't as prominent, I'd probably take Vader out. I might put back in Count Dooku. Maybe Boba Fett. I'm really excited about his mass ability block plus more damage. Plus his single damage is pretty strong. I like Boba Fett quite a bit. I think a lineup of maybe Boba Fett, IG-88, Poggle, Sidious, and a healer, your choice. Old Daka maybe, Luminara maybe. That's probably where I would go. If you're in that 45-50 range and you're basically stuck with what I told you before, I think you're still okay. I think a lineup of Sidious, Counselor, Chewbacca, Luminara, and Dooku, it's pretty strong still, unless someone was able to react really swiftly and go get the anti-Jedi lineup. But essentially what you're left with is now trying to figure out how do these new characters that we got from The Force Awakens work into this, and how can you adjust now that you've gotten all these buffs and nerfs and new guys. So I'd like very much to hear from you in the comments below what you think the metagame is going to look like, and I'll see you next time on Tiny Grimes Games.